Hi guys, welcome. In this video, we'll talk about the principles of management, some managerial concepts, and the difference between a traditional organization and a more modern and contemporary way of doing things in the companies. So sit tight and enjoy the presentation. So let's talk about management. What's management? Management is the use of the resources of an organization in order to achieve its goals effectively and efficiently. So management in reality is about allocating resources within an organization. These companies have goals and we have to be able to get to them effectively. This means that we have to make things right. Things have to be done right and properly and efficiently. This means that we have to do it with the less resources possible. So effectiveness is doing things right. Efficiency is doing things with the less resources possible. Management is a discipline. It's not a science. And at the same time, it's a process that uses techniques and scientific principles to allocate resources and make decisions. What kind of sciences help management do this job? Well, sociology, psychology, anthropology, law, economics, math, statistics, engineering, accounting, finance, information technologies, and any other disciplines or sciences that will help different kind of businesses. We said that managers use resources of an organization. But what's an organization? Well, an organization is a group of people joining efforts to attain common goals or a desired future. Okay? So basically, even a team or a project could be seen as an organization. Of course, if we're talking about economic environment, we're talking about businesses and companies. And we have to identify that there are profit and non-profit organizations. Profit organizations are those which objective is to gain money. Their activities and productions are intended to make profit. By the other hand, non-profit organizations have social objectives. They're trying to make our communities and our world better. They're not trying to make money. They only get the money enough to fulfill their own objectives. Of course, we have to understand that people within non-profit organizations, they make a living too. So they have their own wages and salaries. But they're not trying to accumulate wealth. All the money that is entering the company or the organization goes to the correspondent activities. Nowadays, there are two types of organization: the traditional organization and the contemporary organization. The traditional organization is stable. It is inflexible in their processes and schedules. It is job-oriented and it has just job positions. It means that each person and individual has a job and they have to do it. They don't mess with other positions within the company. Each person has their job and they're good at it, and that's it. They usually have permanent jobs. They work with orders. So bosses give orders to their subordinates. In this kind of companies, bosses always decide. So they don't care much about employees' ideas. They're rule-oriented. They have a lot of rules, norms, policies, structures. They're very rigid. They usually have a homogeneous personnel. This means that the person within the company usually have a similar background. Okay? They're not diverse. They like working around people that is the same as them. They work in labor days, they have office hours, and they have hierarchical structures, which makes very clear within the organization the levels of power and responsibilities. Traditional organizations always worked in facilities, in buildings, in a physical location, offices, plants. However, contemporary organizations are very different. They're dynamic, they're flexible with their work schedules, with their processes. They're ability oriented. Hence, They focus on task responsibilities, not necessarily jobs. So you, for example, can work with different departments or different positions depending on the abilities and capabilities you have. They usually involve temporary or rotational jobs. So you can learn from different positions in order of avoiding having problems when an individual is missing work or is sick. They develop relationships with participation, employees take part of the decisions, and they are client oriented. For a contemporary organization, clients and customers are the most important thing. From here, we got the idea that customers are always right. They like to have diversity within their personnel. It means that they like to work with people with different backgrounds, different religions, different races, different sexual orientations, different economic environment, even people with disabilities, because they think that this will make the company grow and give them a better insight about how to solve problems. Labor days, no way. They don't work with a schedule. They like things to be done. So it doesn't matter the time or how much they need to work for it. Of course, sometimes it could be a couple hours, but if it's needed, collaborators will work all day long. They prefer network structures, not hierarchical ones. This means the company works with the relationships, understanding that each individual needs of other, not with orders. And because we have a flexible and dynamic way of working, we usually can work anywhere. If you have noticed, with this pandemic emergency, contemporary organizations are the ones that are leading the way, are the ones that are surviving this time of crisis. We define management as a discipline and a process. So a manager must follow certain activities that we call the management or managerial processes, and it involves 4 steps. First, planning, then organizing, leading, and controlling. In the planning phase, we develop the goals and the strategies in order to achieve them. In the organizational phase, we decide what are the roles of individuals. We allocate resources, activities, and responsibilities to each part of the organization. In the leadership activities, we make sure that people make the things they're supposed to do. And finally, in the controlling phase, we check and monitor that everything is going according to the plans. If there's something wrong, then we can go back and plan all over again. We can identify different levels of management within an organization. First, we have the first line managers. These are the ones that work together with the first line employees, like the workers, the people that are in the production lines. These level managers are usually called supervisors. Then we have the middle managers, who are in charge of the first line managers. We usually call them managers or a management position. Then we have the top managers, which are the highest ranked managers within an organization. They are usually called directors or officers. For example, the CFO, the Chief Financial Officer, the CMO, the Chief Marketing Officer, the CIO, the Chief Information Officer, the COO, the Chief Operations Officer, and so on. And above them all, we have the CEO, the Chief Executive Officer, who is the main leader in a company. In this chart, we can see how the different activities of the management process are located amongst the different levels of management. For example, first line managers usually take care of leadership activities because they're in charge of working with employees or most of the employees. They have the middle level management, and you can see that they're distributed more equally within all the activities of the process. And then we have the top management. Top management usually takes care of planning and organizing activities. It could sound simple to be a manager. However, a manager has different roles within an organization. It's not only about allocating resources. These roles were identified by Misberg. We have 3 types of different roles. The decisional role is about making decisions or helping others to make decisions. In this, we have four specific roles. The entrepreneur, which means that a manager must be able to sell their ideas or sell the products of the business, be able to develop new markets. There are as well disturbance handlers. They are in charge of taking care of any problem that may arise between employees. Of course, they are resource allocators because it's part of the definition of management, and they have to be negotiators. They have to be able to make agreements when there are different interests in the table. Managers also have an interpersonal role because they treat with different people. So they have to be the figurehead, the example for their subordinates and everyone around in the company. They have to be leaders because they have to be able to make people make what they're supposed to do and to make them grow and work at their highest potential. And they work as liaison because they're responsible for the results of their teams. And they're the ones you can get in contact with when there's any problem. And finally, managers also have an informational role. They have to be able to receive and send different kind of information. They work as monitors because they have to check the work of their subordinates or teams. They are disseminators because they're the ones spreading information or news of the company to their workers. And they also are spokespersons. Sometimes they have to give speeches or motivational speeches. They have to talk to people outside the company, and they have to be a prestigious figure for public relations. Now we know that the manager has different roles to fulfill within a company. But what kind of skills do the managers need in order to be good at their job? Well, they need three different kind of skills. First, the conceptual skills. Conceptual skills are those that helps you to solve problems. It's about understanding concepts, understanding causes and consequences. It's strategic thinking. They also need human skills because they deal with different kind of people. Empathy, honesty, kindness, service, listening. These are attributes that managers need to be successful. And of course, they also need some technical skills. Technical skills are knowledge and expertise in specific areas. For example, if you work in the finance department, you should know about finance, accounting. You have to be good with numbers, with computers. If you work in production, you need to know about engineering, about processes, efficiency, quality. Then, the manager position within a company is very important for their success. And we know by now that it's not easy task to be done. I hope you liked the presentation. I will be uploading more videos about management in English and Spanish to this channel. So don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and I'll be creating some more dynamic and interactive videos. So keep in touch. And don't forget, let's learn business.